Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Guru Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gururdevo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaste friends. Welcome to session 6 of the new series Gift, Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation, a study of selected verses from the Bhagavad Gita based on Shankara Bhashya. In our last two sessions, we have seen Sri Krishna explaining to Arjuna why he should fight the war from the philosophical angle. In the next few verses, he will argue from the dharmic and the laukik angles. Shri Venkatesh Prasad Sir, Srimati Apeksha, Kumari Veeksha, Dr. Asha Nayak Ma'am, and Dr. Kiran Sir will help us understand the teachings of Lord Krishna. Dr. Kiran Sir will also introduce and moderate today's session. Over to you, Dr. Kiran Sir.
Thank you, Panaga. Namaste. Hari Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Lord Krishna, having infinite compassion, has agreed to become Arjuna's Guru, Shishyastehizvam Prapannam. He has started the Gita teaching at three levels. That is, first is Adhyatmika or philosophical knowledge angle, second from ethical, and that is Laukika Drishti, and third from Karma angle. Fortunately, Arjuna's trouble is not over. He did not understand the Adhyatmika level as Krishna gauged it, and that's why the Gita is still continuing, and so we are fortunate to listen to the further teachings of Gita. I always wondered why Krishna chose to start with the most complicated aspect of the teaching. This is not new. Almost all Vedantic teaching starts from higher level because this is the ultimate to be known and this cannot be surpassed. There will be not first edition of Vedanta, second edition of Vedanta, or third edition. Like, we find many textbooks, Harrison, etc. There's one teaching and that will be there in all periods of time. That's why he chose to tell this first. Similar in Upanishad, we find Isha Vasya Ida Upani, Isha Vasya Idam Sarvam, and then Ayamatma Brahma. Many other Upanishads also start with a bang and then explain further. And the second angle is Arjuna knows Dharma Shastra. Sakshat Dharmaraya is his brother, and he has gone to forest for 12 years and Agnata also is done because he knows Dharma. He need not be told. In fact, the first chapter, if you say, he tells almost like a discourse he gives to Lord Krishna about Dharma and what happens, etc., etc. And so he does not need Dharma. He knows what is right, what is wrong. But what he does not know is what he should do and what is good. This is very important because sometimes there will be more crime committed in the name of doing right than others. So it is always important to take back and see whether we are doing what is good. If Putin had not sought some, wisdom, this war wouldn't have taken place and so many people wouldn't have died. Similarly, whether it is Hitler or any other things we see, if they are taken back and see what we are doing, ultimately is going to benefit. They all thought what they are doing is right. That is why it is very important that we take back and look around and see whether what we do right is also good. That is why Arjuna has asked this question: is it worth killing our own kith and kin? In fact, the whole world is our kith and kin. Krishna started with Adhyatmika, because this is a central teaching. Let us revise once more what we have done. Atma is infinite. That is, it is there in all periods of time. That is, it is Nityam, Satyam, and it is Sarvagatam. It is enveloping everything. Imagine even the space is within this Atma. If you have to define something, that's why there is nothing which is beyond this. And obviously, because of that, it is changeless in all periods of time. Like a space time concept. If you lay down space and time like a paper, there's nothing beyond Atma. That is why it is changeless, obviously. And hence, the knower of this has to be Atma. This is slightly different from other knowledge. I know tube light, that doesn't mean that I am tube light. I know this hand, that doesn't mean that I am hand. Here, the knower and the thing to be known is Atma. It is Aprameya, that is me, myself, because I am ultimately the Atma which is enveloped by the Upadhi and which makes things as if I don't know. In fact, I am Atma before, I am Atma afterwards, and Atma in all the time. And just like how this hen or thing is hen or cock is every morning it crows and sun rises, that doesn't mean that cock crowing is responsible for the sunrise. Similarly, everything we do, everything we see, we think we are doing, but in fact the change is occurs because the Atma is blessing because of some karma travails this body and it is doing all the action. I am a karta. Atma, as a consciousness, we have seen it as envelops everything, but it also pervades the body. In and through everything it is there. It is intimate and but not integral. It also extends beyond, and it is a separate entity, just like how light and hand cannot be separated, just like how crystal and light cannot be separated, but they are not together. This Atma body is bonded by some karma into a chemical mixture called jiva. This Atma Anatma Viveka is very important because we have to claim Atma is our true nature and not this body mind complex. And once we know that, we know Atma is Akarta. It is free of doership. Just like a light falling on, it can fall on a beautiful object, light flower, or it can fall on some criminal incident. It does not sully the light, and light does not distinguish, okay, some crime is happening, let me dim. It does not happen. Just like the flow of water, river, it does not do anything by itself, it happens. That is why, that is how all the actions are happening in the presence of Atma, but Atma itself is Akarta. And all actions, as I know, because of, as I told, because the Upadhi is occurring at a lower level of reality, that is similar to dream, this is occurring. At Paramarthika level, there is no doership. And in fact, what I'm teaching you is also mithya. Only when you gauge that this also is mithya, and beyond this is the knowledge that is being me, claiming me to be Atma and living as Atma, that is the real knowledge. And I am the Sakshi, the Upadrashta. And death and rebirth are like shirts changing, just like how this shirt, if it becomes dirty and change, similarly one karma affects prarabdha is over, I change the shirt to another one, and this jiva or dehi takes the another one. And this atma cannot be cut in by any weapon, cannot be burnt by any fire. In fact, here the effect, that is atma cannot be touched, or atma is aprameya, is stressed. Next, we have to claim that I am Atma, the eternal. I am pervading everything. I'm changeless. I'm infinite. So I cannot move. This is essentially the knowledge or the adhyatmika level which the Krishna was stressing. Deep inside, man is aware that he is immortal. That is why he always tries to make this body, because he does not know the difference between Atma and the body. He thinks that body is also immortal. Body, whatever you do, is finite. And Atma, whatever you do, you don't do, is Anatma. This is called as Sangha dosha. He interchanges this and he craves for the body to become immortal. That's why repeated hammering is required to separate it. That's why Krishna repeatedly says in the previous verses that this point. And next he is moving on to Laukika. We assume, okay, I didn't understand. I say Atma is this body is dying and rebirthing. Atma is also dying along with it. Even then, you don't have to worry whether you kill or you don't kill this body or Atma with body is going to die. So why are you worrying? Do what is needed to be done and then get away with it. That is what Krishna is telling from the Laukika angle. Now, continuing, Dr. Venkatesh Prasad will tell the next verse. Venkatesh Prasad.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. With the 30th verse, Lord Krishna concludes his arguments based on Adhyatmika Drishti. Philosophical arguments were given in support of the Mahabharata war and also as a remedy for Arjuna's sorrow. And now, from the 31st verse up to 33rd, Krishna is coming down to the Dharmika Drishti. Arjuna may say that it is improper to fight the war because war is violence and violence is unethical, immoral. Because according to Dharma Shastra, ahimsa paramo dharma is the rule, and I'll be violating that rule. Therefore, I will not fight. Arjuna may argue. But Arjuna conveniently forgets the second line of that verse, which reads, Dharmo himsa tathaivacha, meaning so too is violence in service of dharma. From that angle, Krishna argues that Arjuna, you have to fight because it is for the sake of dharma and because we have exhausted all non-violent methods, and that is the last resort also. And even for protecting dharma, violence cannot be taken to by all the people, but by only the army, police, or the king. Based on Varnashrama Kshatriya Dharma, only Kshatriya alone can resort to violence and not Brahmana, not Vaishya, not Shudra. And in this case, Arjuna happens to be a Kshatriya. Therefore, he has the legitimate duty to use violence. This is the argument given in these verses. Shankara raises a question to introduce the verse 2.32. Kutascha tad yuddham kartavyam iti uchyate. So, kutascha, because of the following reasons, also Arjuna, the Kshatriya, has to fight this war. So, kutascha means because of what more reasons Arjuna should fight is the question. Because the shloka is going to give some more reasons. Shankaracharya raises this question. Already some reasons like dharma rakshanartham, praja rakshanartham, and kshatriya shreyaskaram have been given. After these three reasons, now the fourth reason is going to come in the next shloka 2.32. It is Svargadvaram. The war will lead a Kshatriya to Veerasvarga, and for that he gives the introduction. Kutascha, because of what more reasons, Yuddham Kartavyam, war should be fought. Iti Uchyate, that is said. With this much background, let us now go to the verse 32. Yadrichaya chopapannam Svargadvaram apavrutam Sukhinah Kshatriya Partha Labante Yuddham Idrusham. In this verse, Krishna describes the Mahabharata war as a wonderful opportunity that has come for Arjuna. And why is it a wonderful opportunity? Apavrutam Swargadvaram. It is an open gateway to heaven. Apavrutam means open. Swargadvaram means gateway to heaven. This also, how has it come? Yadrichaya cha upapanna. By chance it has come. You have tried your best to avoid this, but still in spite of your effort, it has come to you. Therefore, it is a God-given opportunity. Therefore, don't let this opportunity slip from your hand. Why are you crying? This is the essence. This is based on Dharma Shastra, again, Dharmika Drishti. Now, we'll see the Bhashyam. Yadrichaya cha aprarthitaya upapannam agatam swargadvaram apavrutam udghatitam. Ye tadidrusham yuddham labante kshatriyaha he partha kimna sukhinahate. Yadrichaya is the word in the Moolam is equal to aprarthitaya. Yadrichya means by chance it has come. And how do you define the chance? Aprarthitam, that which has not been asked for by the person. So, by the chance, and in Shastra, it is by punyam. Because of some prarabdha punyam, upapannam or agatam, meaning it has come to you. It has reached your door. It is the gateway to heaven. and apavrutam is in the moolam is equal to udghatitam means open. So thus you have got an open gateway to heaven. May you enter it as quickly as possible. Yetadidrusham yuddham labante te kshatriyaha. There are some rare kshatriyas who get such a yuddham as an open gateway to Swarga. Then he says, Hey Partha, Arjuna, te sukinaha nakim. Aren't they fortunate? And you fall under such a rare kshatriya variety. Therefore, seize the opportunity. Krishna only says, te sukhinaha. They are fortunate. Shankaracharya changes it and asks it in the form of a question. Aren't they fortunate? Yes, they are indeed fortunate. The Anmaya is, He Partha, Sukhinaha Kshatriyaha Yadruchaya Upapannam Apavrutam Swargadvaram Cha Idrusham Yuddham Labante. O Arjuna, only fortunate Kshatriyas get such a righteous war which has come to you by chance and which is an open gateway to heaven. What happens if Arjuna doesn't fight this war? Apeksha will tell us in the next verse. Haribom.
Thank you. I just want to stress, very beautifully explained by Venkateshji with Bhashyam. Two components important here. One is dharma and another is swadharma. Swadharma is the profession he is engaged in. He is a kshatriya, so his duty is to fight war, protect the people, protect dharma, etc. And here, dharma is also important. For example, there will be some families where robbery runs in family. It is almost their family profession. So just because I follow that profession very clearly, that doesn't mean I can claim to go to swarga. Here, swadharma is important. Following dharma is also important. In fact, in this path of Shreyas, or we know the path to the moksha and others, what is being mentioned. Dharma is the background in which all occurs. If you are not following dharma, if you are not following truth and what is envisioned there, there is no whatever how much ever we learn, it will be only theory. So dharma and swadharma is very important. Here, swa means swabhava or mental aptitude or guna. Here, as Venkatesh ji has told, Varnashrama, here guna or aptitude of a person is very, very important, and Swamiji often stresses very uh, much. Next, Srimati Apeksha will continue the next one.
हरि ओम अतः चेतविमं धर्मयं संग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापं वापस्यसि. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you do not fight this righteous war, we saw, right, Lord Krishna said, what if you fight the war? It will be an open gateway to heaven. Here Lord Krishna is saying, Arjuna, if you do not fight this righteous war, righteous is like as Dr. Kiran was just saying, righteous war. Righteous is very important here, dharma. Then you will be forsaking your duty and honor and you will incur sin. So let's go deeply into this verse. Next slide. Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, you will have to fight this war by which you will attain heaven. Suppose Arjuna, argues, I'm ready to sacrifice the heaven for the sake of Bhishma and Drona, and I want to live with them and I do not want to kill them. So Lord Krishna is saying that then in that case, you are going to get to hell only. Because if a person renounces his duty as per the dharma, that omission of duty is considered to be a papam. So we will look in the next slide. Why papam? What is papam, right? There are two types of papam as per Shastras. One is the Nishaddha Karnam, which in English is called commission. So Nishaddha Karnam is what? Doing what should not be done. So when you are doing a certain thing which should not be done, then you incur a sin. So what will be the examples of this type of papam or commission? It is like Shastra says, Suram na pibet. One should not take liquor. So if you are taking liquor and if you are drinking, they say even if you are smelling liquor, it's a lower form of papam, but if you are drinking liquor, it is a higher form of papam and it will come under Nishaddha Karnam. So that is, you are doing something that should not be done as per the Shastra. Then the second type of papam is Vihata Akarnam, which is omission. What does that mean? It is just the reverse. Not doing what should be done. So the above one was doing something which is not prescribed, like smoking, drinking, those type of karmas. But the next one is not doing what should be done by you. For example, we all are supposed to pay taxes, right? And what if someone comes and says, no, I'll not pay taxes, don't punish me, I have not done anything. If I have not paid taxes, what's wrong in that? No, you should pay taxes, and that is what you should be doing, what should be done. So this vihata akarnam, that is omission, in English it's called omission. Not paying tax will come under vihata akarnam. Next slide, please. So if Arjuna does not fight this war, what type of sin he will incur? So it's going to be a vihata akarnam, because he's not doing what should be done. He should be fighting the war and he's not ready to fight the war. So therefore, that's why Lord Krishna says, Atha chetvamemam dharmayam sangramam na karishyasi. So sangramam, dharmayam sangramam. So that is the righteous war. Arjuna, if you do not fight this righteous war, you will be omitting, shirking your duty. So you will incur papam, which will be of vihata akarnam. Next slide, please. So what will be the consequence of this papam? You will suffer in this janma, and if you do not suffer in this janma, you will suffer in the future janma, that's for sure. So therefore, Arjuna, you may not be interested in heaven, but you have to fight this war to avoid narakam, that is hell, and avoid losing name and fame, which Lord Krishna is going to talk in the next slide. Krishna's argument is that if this war is, his argument is that this war is ethical and therefore you should fight. And this verse actually, from the dharmic drishti, concludes Krishna's angle that you should, why this war is the righteous one, this war is ethical, and Arjuna should fight. Hari Om.
Thank you, Apekshaji. We are looking from worldly angle that if Arjuna does not fight, he loses name and fame as a warrior. He is known that he has fought Lord Shiva and got Pashupatastra, and he is not known for spiritual discourses like Buddha, etc. So for Kshatriya, if he does not fight, nobody will say he got moksha or he got enlightenment. They are going to say that it is cowardice, which is worse for a Kshatriya than death. And here, failing while doing duty is better than not doing the duty at all. That is what he is stressing again and again. We should not worry about result. Like if he kills his brother, his father, like Guru, what happens? We should not bother about that. Here, the stress is samatva bhavana. That is, you have to accept success and failure equally and do your duty without attachment, especially to the result. Then he will further introduce to what is karma. These all is what is called as prasangika upadesha. That means it is an incidental teaching, aside teaching. That's why he does not summarize this and he does not repeat it later on until unless Arjuna asked for it. Now we will be going into what is called as science of action or karma. How we have to do the action, but also we should not be get caught in it. What is karma? What is karmi? What is karma yoga? What is the character, bondage, escape? What is doership? Is that really entity is there? What are the fruits? How to avoid it? These are the things we will learn in further classes. And whatever we do, how to get free of it? One is that we should accept jaya, apajaya, that is victory, loss, sukha, dukkha, labha, nashta, all with equal equanimity, or same krutvam, treat everything equally. This is the key in karma or karma yoga. When we are doing our dharmic duties, when we are doing our swadharma, we should do it with this attitude, then we'll be getting it. Before that, because this Sankhya or Gnanam is very important, Viksha, again it will be revising it and Viksha will be talking about it. Viksha, please.
Thank you, sir. The verse goes like, Esha te vihita sankhye buddhir-yoge tvimam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. This discipline of knowledge has been stated to you. Now listen to the discipline of action. Having equipped yourself with this understanding, O Partha, you will cast off your bonds of action. Next slide, sir. Shri Krishna uses this shloka to conclude a very theoretical topic of correct logic and correct reasoning, and slowly transitions on to the means of attaining that particular knowledge. The remaining shlokas in this second chapter are extremely practical and can be immediately used in our daily lives. They will enable us to conduct our Swadharma while always keeping the attitude specified in the prior shloka, which is treat any situation, joyful or sorrowful, with equanimity. Next slide, sir. The word yoga comes twice in this shloka. So let's examine it more closely. Now, we're all familiar with the physical art of exercise, which dates back to many, many years ago, which is yoga. We all perform it in the morning. It's very common, right? But the Bhagavad Gita has a very different meaning. Translated into English, the meaning is a mix between the words technique and discipline. And in fact, we're all aware that every chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is a yoga, or a technique and discipline onto oneself. Next slide, sir. There is an interesting word in the last part of this shloka, which translates to bonds of action. It almost seems like a thick rope exists, one tied to our leg and the other tied to the action. But what is bondage? Bondage is essentially an action that increases extreme attachment or hatred towards anything, an object, person, or situation, which binds us to that particular thing. It is similar to addiction. We may smoke a cigarette once, but unless we have a very high self-control, we want to experience it again. This desire to repeat the experience eventually results in an addiction that we cannot live without. The important point here is that no matter what the action is or object that binds us, it is the thought behind it that binds us. For a non-smoker, a pack of cigarettes does not cause bondage. Conversely, for a smoker, on the other hand, the mere sight of the pack of cigarettes prompts him to smoke. For things subtler than addiction, we can tell whether or not an action will cause bondage by checking whether it is for the service of one's selfish ego or not. Next slide, sir. Consider an executive making a presentation to her management team. One scenario could be that she makes the presentation with the motive of getting a promotion. Another scenario could be that she makes the presentation with the motive of increasing the sales of the corporation so that it benefits all the stakeholders that are involved. In the first case, the action binds her, whereas in the second case, it doesn't bind her. Alternatively, consider a musician performing on stage. If he performs with the sole motive to get applause and get nominated for a particular award, the action will bind him. But if he performs with the sole motive of entertaining the audience and honoring his craft, his action will not bind him. Sri Krishna gently reveals the technique of cutting off these bindings in the rest of the chapter. Next slide, sir. One should therefore understand that Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness, in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. One who works for the satisfaction of the Lord only, however difficult such work may be, is working under the principles of Buddhi Yoga and finds himself always in transcendental bliss. By such transcendental engagement, one achieves all transcendental qualities automatically by the grace of the Lord, and thus his liberation is complete in itself without him making any kind of extra effort to attain a particular type of knowledge. There is much difference between work in Krishna consciousness and work for fruitive results, especially in the matter of sense gratification, for achieving results in terms of family or material happiness. Buddhi Yoga is therefore the transcendental quality of the work that we perform. Thank you, Hari.
Thank you, Viksha, for beautifully explaining such a difficult verse and perhaps the summary verse. Here, two things are stressed. What that is, there are two types of Shastram in Vedas. One is Gnana Yoga and another is Karma Yoga. We can combine Upasana with Karma Yoga. One is Karma and Upasana is Veda Purma, we can call another is Vedanta. This together concepts. Can one be replaced by another? No. This is what he is stressing again and again. In answer to Arjuna's question in third chapter, Krishna says, Gnana Yogena Sankyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. It is explained here only. So, for the person that is Gnani, Karma Yoga is not needed because he has already knows the sadhana chashutaya sampatti or basic qualification, and so he is not bothered about it. But if somebody is happy in Karma Yoga, then he is not ready for Jnana, and he is best should be advised to follow Karma Yoga properly. Otherwise, it will lead to improper thing, and that is why till he realizes the incompleteness of the Karma Yoga, whatever he is doing, it is better that he does his Karma Yoga properly. Arjuna has not realized the Adhyatmika angle or I am Atma, Brahma, etc. So at now, it is best for him to perform his action, what is called as Karma Yoga. But as Viksha has already stressed, we should not get attached to it and get embroiled in. How to do it? Three principles are there. One is Nisangatva, that is totally asangatvam or detachment, either from the action or from the fruits of it. And second, dvandva prahana purvakam. That means pairs of opposite or duality we have to live. That is raga dvesha. When you get something, you become very happy and jump around. And when you don't get, then you become anger. These things should be avoided. We can do our actions to the best. The result, it may not always be within us. This pairs of opposite he has to reduce. And third is Ishvara Arpana or Aradhana. All karmas we have already known is done in the sphere of Atma or Brahman only. There is nothing beyond it. It is like, fish in the sea. Nothing it can do beyond it. Similarly, whatever we do, action, we think we are doing, it occurs because of karma and combination. We, having the upadhi called body-mind complex, have only thing to go with the flow. What is it called? That means dharma and swadharma, and then leave the rest to the Lord. And if we get good result, we should know that this has come not because of our or this body's effort, it is because of the divine intervention. So the next verse, Asha Naik ji will explain. Asha Naik ji.
Om Gurubhyo Nama, Jai Gurudev. After fulfilling Jnana Yoga, which was given from verse 11 to 25, now Lord Krishna wants to concentrate on Karma Yoga. Before starting the topic Karma Yoga, Krishna wants to make certain general observations regarding Karma Yoga and Karma Yogi. In the first 40th verse onwards, Krishna glorified Karma Yoga, pointing out that it has never got failure, because Karma Yoga is primarily meant for inner growth, and whatever external consequences of action, Karma Yogi will inwardly grow, which means he gets the capacity to learn from success also and from failure also, to learn from gain as well as loss, and to learn from manam and apamanam. Since Karma Yogi learns and grows, there is no question of failure in Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is a way of life, and what it is will be seen in the next third chapter. But here it is only glorification. Basic philosophy of Gita is this: the peace of mind does not depend upon what you have. On the other hand, peace of mind depends upon what you are. It's very important to remember. Next slide. Biggest myth or misconception: we think the more we have, the more secure we are. So that is a myth. Next slide. to get Jnana Yoga, we have to do Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is a proper action and proper attitude. Proper attitude is Ishvara Arpana Bhava and Ishvara Prasada Bhava. Next slide. The shloka goes like this. Naiha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamappasya dharmasya prayate mato bhayat. Next slide. The Bhashyam goes like this. Na iha moksha marge karma yoge abhikramanasha abhikramanam abhikrama prarambha tasya nasho na asti yatha krishnade yoga vishaye prarambhasya anek kantika phalam tvam iti artha. Kim chin ape chikittasa pratyavayo vidyate किं तु भवति स्वल्पमपि अस्य योगधर्मस्य अनुष्ठितत्रायते रक्षितमहत संसार भया जन्म मरणादि लक्षणात्. Next slide. So the meaning of this we will go here. Iha means here. Here means what? It means moksha marge and karma. Karma yoga is a way of life, and in spiritual life it is called moksha marga. The word abhikramanasha is a compound word and consists of two words, abhikrama and nasha. Abhikramam is equal to prarambham. Prarambham means venture, project or effort. Tasya nasha is a failure or loss, all called zero result, positive or negative result. Pratyavaya means adverse result, opposite result, contrary result, viparita phalam. Pratyavaya, to understand, it is given example of a doctor. He tries to give some medicine for headache and the person develops stomachache. So instead of the stomach headache goes, but stomachache comes. That is called viparita resulta or contrary result. So any action, karma yoga result always is positive. On the other hand, result is always there and result is always positive. Next slide. This is another glory of karma yoga. The positive result always comes if real karma yoga. It takes time. But here in karma yogi, the people will get instantaneous. If he works for 1 minute, it will get 1 minute result. If karma yogi will produce 1 month, means it will produce 1 month. It is called nishkama karma. Swalpam api gives the prayojanam. Swalpam api is prayojanam will give cascading effect. The prayojanam will inspire you to do more prayojanam, and that more and more prayojanam will lead you to moksha. Therefore, say salpam api, even little bit of limited quantity of asya dharma, that is his dharma. Meaning a dharma here is way of life. So yoga dharma means karma yoga, way of life. Swalpam api anushtanam. Anushtanam word we have added extra. Even little bit of practice, abhyasa or implementation is called swalpam api anushtana. So practice yoga is useful, but remember and understand karma yoga is not beneficial if it is understood. This is a very subtle point. If you are practicing karma yoga, it is useful. But if it is not practicing and just understanding, then it is not useful at all. With this, it will do trayate is equal to rakshate. Trayate meaning it will protect you. What is that it will protect? Protect from mahat bhaya. That is worst of the fear. What is this greatest or worst of fear? Which is sansara. Sansara is what? Bhayat, fear of sansara. The meaning of sansara is janma maranam lakshanan. Janma maranadi lakshanan. Sansara bhaya is considering repeated birth and death cycle. So karma yoga will protect you from this worst of fear. So the next slide. In this field, there is no failure, there is no adverse result. Even little bit of this discipline protects from the great fear. Only you have to remember it has to be practiced yoga and not understood yoga. Hari Om.
Thank you, Ashaji, for beautifully explaining this important verse. the 40 up to 47 verses, Krishna is glorifying Karma Yoga. So, using the 40th verse and the next verse, let me summarize what we have learned at Karma Yoga and the knowledge which we have learned today. Contrasting Karma Yoga and Karmi, we have learned any action done with attachment, one becomes Karmi. If you're done with the detachment to the result and the action itself, that becomes Karma Yoga. Hence, there's no question of failure in Karma Yoga. Always you get result. In all karmas, there is result. There is either Papa or Punya, there is never zero. When you're doing Karma Yoga, you get always Punya because you are doing in line with the Dharma and without attachment. That is what he has done. Abhikramana Nashaha. It is a very important word. The failure of venture is not there at all. Why? Because the action itself gives the result. If a singer is concentrating on his singing without bothering, afterwards how much cash I'm getting, etc., he will give a beautiful performance and you can see the joy in his face. Similarly, there is a beautiful book called Flow by Michael Zimelli, in which he explains how people get happiness when they are with the flow. When you are doing very difficult job like climbing Mount Everest, why people do it? Because this flow, this happiness is there, and it is not dependent on the results thereafter. That is what he is stressing. Abhikramana nasti. In this field, there is no failure. That is, Karma Yoga is a way of life. We grow internally more. We learn from our failures. Just like how Edison, he failed how to do this electric bulb many a times. I think even 100 times. When somebody questioned how you have wasted so much of your energy, he said, no, I've learned how not to make the bulb 99 times. So that is how the Karma Yoga is learned. And the basic philosophy of Gita is peace of mind does not depend upon what you have. It depends on what you are, as Ashaji has stressed again and again. So, karma is a deliberate action, and yoga is a link which links our karma to the spiritual thing or our upliftment. How it is formed? First ring is, it can be adama karmani, that is negative spiritual, or madhyama. It is neither positive nor negative, but it benefits materially. Uttama karma, it gives spiritual thing. It may not benefit materially so much. So when we shift our focus from adharma to uttama, the karma naturally transforms to karma yoga. And how it is done, this is told in this very important verse, Vyavasatmaka buddhi reka kurunandanaha bahushaka hiya nasta buddhyo yoham vyavasiyana. Here, Vyavasatmaka buddhi, that means the clear understanding of the path, that is roadmap is there, what a person should do. Then he has a clear understanding. The person who does not have this clear understanding, then he will go here and there and then he will get lost. Let us study this further. A karma yoga is a man with a mission. He is clear about his priorities in life, about his ultimate goal. Here in Bhashyam it is told Mano Jayatvaram Moksha Jaya. That means he knows Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, whatever actions we do, is a preparation for the ultimate. Religion is a mastery of mind, and spirituality is for acquiring moksha. This kind of Vyavasatmika Buddhi is important. That means he has a very clear map and he knows with conviction what he has to do. That's why it is called as buddhi. Here means knowledge, and ekaha means unidirection. If it does not happen, what happens? This is very important. If somebody asks you how many purusharthas are there, we say dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But in reality, if you analyze, there is only one goal that is envisioned for human being, that is shreyas or moksha. All other is not a goal, they are means. You understood? If I am going after artha or basic necessity, like any other animals also will do. If I am going to going after kama, we know it is ephemera. It can't be an ultimate goal. And Even many animals also do it. And dharma will provide some solace to me, but will not provide the ultimate happiness to me. Ultimately, Shreyas is the only path, and all others sometimes can be a path to this or can be a temptation to deviate against this. That's why in Kathopanishad, Nachiketa asks Shreyas the praise the Manushya. Very clearly, you tell me what is that which is read. So this lifestyle, which is in line with this kind of spiritual goal, that is what we have to follow. This is called as Shreyo Margaha, Pramana Janita Viveka Buddhi. So with the strength of the Shastras and knowledge, we should develop the discriminative knowledge of what is ephemeral, what is the Nitya, what is the Anitya, what we should do. Otherwise, we'll be caught in one goal after another, and our materialistic things will go on. Otherwise, when we understood that whatever we have gained is temporary, our and the ultimate goal is moksha or gnanam or enlightenment, these worldly pleasures or attachment to that will come down. And this is the beautiful roadmap. First we have to do karma, then that will control our other desires, etc. Then upasana, it will bring down the chanchalatvam of the mind, then it will make us prepared for the gnana, and ultimately the gnana itself gives the moksha. This is the roadmap we should have. And once we know that, then whenever we are traveling, wherever we are traveling, our baggage will be less. Even if we get down in a train to eat idli vada, we know ultimately our journey is to reach the ultimate enlightenment, and hence we immediately take one or two idlis and sit in the compartment. Similarly, whatever we do, ultimately we have to drop all the baggages, whether wealth, anger, greed, guilt, whatever we have acquired, we have to ultimately drop it and go with our hands open. And once we know that, soon we will put a roadmap of how to achieve this. This is called as Vyavasatmaka Buddhihi. And if we don't know what has happened, Avyavyasinam, that means if we don't know what is real infinite, we don't clarity, then our worldly desires become infinite. Just like this, we saw in this cartoon, the man is chasing the money and wealth, and he is going to fall off the cliff. He is never going to get that money. So even in spirituality, many will go, one will follow Buddhism, another will follow Hinduism, another will go Advaita, Dvaita, etc. If you don't have this clear map, you will get lost. Somebody will say, oh, that guru is very powerful, you go with him, we'll get lost. So once we have this clear roadmap, we should find Guru and then seek his blessing sooner or later. If we don't do, what happens with the problem of materialistic goals, we will see further in the next week. Thank you very much. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much, sir, and all the speakers of the day for the in depth explanations. We learned about the dharmic and the laukic reasons about why Arjuna had to fight the war. We were also introduced to Karma Yoga, what actions to perform, and the attitude of Vyavasatmika Buddhihi. The greatness of the Gita lies in its ability to reveal new understanding with every reading. Let us tune in for the 8th session of Kathopanishad on Friday, December 29th at 6:45 p.m. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.